This is Lily Harvey, and I am interviewing Glen McGlothin today. He is the former mayor of Ferriday, Louisiana, and he is instrumental in starting the Delta Music Museum. Hey, Glen, how are you?
Hello, how are you, Lily, and everybody else?
uh, tell me a little bit about you growing up in Ferriday.
Well, I actually was brought here as a young child. My father was from Arkansas, but he married my mother during the war in Germany, so we came over in 1950. And his parents were living in Faraday when he moved back here from the war. So I happened to move to Mississippi Avenue, which Jerry Lee and Mickey and Jimmy all lived on. And to make it even better, they all went to the same church as my grandparents, and their mothers and my grandmother were what they call matriarchs of the Assembly of God Church in Faraday, which was on Texas Avenue.
So y'all weren't cousins. A lot of people think you're kin.
Well, it was. I guess because we were so close and we knew each other so well that everybody, they thought we were relatives for a long time. I'd always tell them we weren't, but I finally just got tired of telling them no, and I just let them think what they wanted to.
um, were what were your age differences between
Well,
them?
they're actually 12 years older than me. They are actually 6 months apart, double first cousins. Jimmy's oldest, then Mickey, and then Jerry. And if I'm not mistaken, they're 84.
Um, what do you remember about their musical abilities growing up?
Oh man, I remember as a young child going to church on Texas Avenue at that Assembly of God Church, and at that time they all played music in church because of their mothers, and I just knew that I could not imagine all three of them having equal talent, and they did, and they all played by ear, which is phenomenal. All they
Right.
had to do is hear one song, one time, and they could play it.
Do you have any memories of Haney's Big House, and can you tell me a little about how it influenced the music scene around here?
Yeah, I got a lot of memories about Hades. Even though I'm a lot younger than them, my father insisted on us boys, my two brothers and I, having a paper route. So during the time we delivered these papers, we delivered the Grit. I know you remember the Grit. We delivered the Concordia Sentinel and the Natchez Democrat, which was a local paper at that time. And Mr. Will was happened to be one of my customers.
Will Haney.
Well, Mr. Will Haney. And so when my brothers got a little older and I was working with them, I used to go to Mr. Will to collect for the paper and deliver the paper. Well, he knew that I loved music because that's all we ever talked about. And I tried to play as a young child myself. So he let me in the back door, and I got to see Jerry Lee play there one time, and several other black artists who made it real big.
Can you name a few of those?
Oh, yeah, Solomon Burke, Fast Domino, Little Jimmy Taylor, just to name a few.
Wow.
And so we got to be real good friends. And of course, his place burned down in '65, which broke my heart. But he influenced so many up and coming black artists, but he also influenced a lot of white artists who got to hear this music that they would have never heard before because of well the years back when we were there.
Right.
They wanted to listen to that music, but they couldn't because of their parents. But they knew that was something they wanted to do, or they liked it a lot and just wanted to listen to it.
So I know that you and Mickey have a good
Well,
relationship.
Mickey and I are good friends. Jerry Lee and I are good friends, but I don't see him as much because he's been gone for so many years. And Brother Jimmy, I know him because I have five Assembly of God preachers in my family. And so I still know Brother Jimmy real well. But Mickey and I are closer because of my dear friend Hiram Copeland, who was the mayor of Vidalia for 28 years, who is our other first cousin.
Right.
And so we just got to be real close. And because I had a band and had the honor of backing Mickey a couple of times at some concerts and stuff, and we just got to be real good friends. And he was one of the guys that helped us have the thought about putting a museum here in the first place.
So, how important do you think that Jerry, Mickey, and Jimmy have been in the music genres, their particular music?
Well, I just put it this way. When I came up, if you said you were from Louisiana, all they ever thought about was Cajun music. And if you lived in the South, it was all Cajun. If you lived in the North, it was all this, one music. No, we are so diversified in Louisiana. But what amazed me is that all three of them are at the top of their game in three different genres: gospel, rock and roll, and country. I don't know if that's ever happened in anybody's family or any area as small as this to produce that many stars in one spot. Of course, the old folks say it's because of the food we eat and the water we drink. They say once you've drank Mississippi water and ate this good Southern food, it's just in you. There's no other way to put it. But I tried it, and I've been eating it a long time, and it ain't happened to me, so I'm not sure about that.
So, what was the importance of establishing the Delta Music Museum?
Well, because of our adjacent, being next to Natchez, Mississippi, we knew that, at least myself and a bunch of other folks, because I didn't do this by myself. I wish I could say that, but I didn't. They had tourism out the wazoo over there. Well, we knew that we had something special. Three cousins, three famous guys from one spot. Not to mention the other guys that didn't make it big, but were regional stars. And so I said, one day I said, as much as I like music, and I've been in bands all my life and have enjoyed it, played one band 30 years, played everywhere. But I knew if we could just get some tourism over here, it would help us because we lost so many small businesses, so many factories in our area. So, and then knowing that we had three different genres of music, so you wouldn't just touch one group of people, you would touch a lot of folks. And so adding them and that idea, thank goodness I had Amanda Taylor from the library and some other ladies working on this. They did the work. I just did the foot going for them. We knew that we had something special. And thank goodness for Fox McGlothin, who was at that time Secretary of State. And there's nothing better he loved than music and festivals and concerts. So he and the Ader family were instrumental in getting us the place, the post office for the museum, and starting our first Delta Music Festival.
Well, what is some of the highlights of the museum?
Oh, the highlights are, oh my goodness, we've got, naturally the three cousins there. We've got John Fred of John Fred and the Playboys, who actually had a hit in 1969. Julian Skies, which knocked the Beatles out of first place.
Wow.
You got to think about that now. Then we got Fats Domino, who came to Ferriday, who loved Ferriday. He and B.B. King loved Ferriday. We tried to get B.B., but he ain't too busy. But then you've got in there Johnny Horton from Louisiana. And you've got so many other stars. Linda Gale, Jerry Lee's sister, who is huge in Europe. And she's huge out in Texas and in those areas. And she's still rocking and rolling. And she's my age, but she looks a lot better than I do. And she still can go just like her brother. So just having them as the impetus to start it. And then we added the other folks to it. Conway Twitty's in there. Because he was raised in Arkansas, well, born in Arkansas, but raised in Tallulah.
Right up the road.
Right up the road. And so his son came and did a tribute to him for us.
Wow.
Also had a tribute to all these guys by Governor of Huckabee of Arkansas. He brought his band, which was an 11-piece band, by the way. He's the bass player. And it was called Capital Offense. And they were fantastic. And they did nothing but Jerry Lee and Mickey them songs, which was great.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So knowing that the brothers and they influenced the Delta Music Museum, and you kind of spoke to me earlier about how some of the stories of the brothers kind of came out.
The cousins?
Yeah, the cousins.
Well,
I'm
let me
sorry.
tell you,
The cousins. I'm sorry.
I don't want to say that you can blame them all on Jerry Lee, but I could think that you could call Jerry Lee the ringleader.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Mickey probably did as much as the rest of them, but since the other two were a little bit older, I'll give you a good example. My grandfather had a barbershop across the street from the pool hall called Joe's Pool Hall. Well, Jerry Lee's father, Mr. Elmo, a good guy, loved him. He liked to go in there and shoot pool, which my daddy and granddaddy loved to shoot pool. Well, they go in there. Well, Jerry Lee could get in or go in. But Jimmy knew he better not, because his mother told him, don't you dare be caught in a pool hall or a bar. or Haney's Big House for that matter, which that's another story. But in the pool hall, they have a picture at the museum of a window, and you can see Jimmy standing on a box looking into the like this, looking into the pool hall, and Jerry Lee sitting up there like he's one of the guys. But it's so funny because Jimmy did listen to his mother. If he didn't do anything else in his life, he listened to his mama.
And so he wouldn't go in.
No, indeed, because he knew what happened. You know, back then they used to whip you. We didn't have to call anybody to get permission. You just got a whipping, okay?
So I know that we both have seen the movie Hot Wax, and it shows them at a bar. What bar would that be?
Well, you know, if it was going to be a bar, I don't know. You know, Jerry Lee got Jimmy when I heard that. I wasn't there. In the Haney's before. And that's the story I was getting at a while ago. Now, that's one of them, either it's a legend that's been told and gotten bigger and more believable, or, as I like to think, I imagine Jerry probably talked Jimmy into going into Haney's because it was the thing to do. And of all things, he wanted Jimmy to listen to this music that he fell in love with. Now, all three of them are raised on gospel music.
Right.
But you see that one stayed with gospel, one went to rock and roll, and one went to country. But I believe that Jerry Lee was just so excited about the new sound, and it was good, y'all, come on, that he wanted Jimmy to hear it. Now, apparently it didn't change Jimmy's heart or his mind, but you have to admit it was good music.
Yeah, it was good. And I've heard, tell me if this is legend or not, but I heard that the piano player from Haney's is who started teaching Jerry how to rock and roll.
That I don't know if it's a legend, a story, or what, but I do know that the influence of that piano player, because he was what I call a pumping piano player. Now, everybody plays piano different. You got people that play classical, and you'll watch how their hands go. But you watch Jerry Lee when he's doing all of this and all that. That's a pumping piano player.
Yeah.
That's where he got it from. Black musicians started that stuff. Jerry Lee just took it to a whole new level.
Absolutely.
You know, he made a piano be rock and roll when nothing before that was just guitar, drums, and bass. He added piano, which nobody did. They did blues on it, but not rock and roll.
That's true. That's true. So, is there any other artist from the area? I know you named, Conway was not far from here, but
No.
is there any other artists that you would think that have a significant influence on the music scene?
Oh, yeah. Jim Eastland, who owns Eastland Music, had a band for years called the Mississippians. Now, Jim didn't make the big time, but he was regional for 500-600 miles away from here. He played everywhere. But his big niche was he was a great piano player, but a great songwriter. He wrote a lot of his own music, and he wrote songs for Marty Robbins and many other people. Eddie Arnold, he wrote a song for him. Oh my God, Pee Wee Whitaker. It's a black man from here. He played with the Rabbit Foot Minstrels, but he also played with Duke Ellington and all those jazz guys. He's in our museum. Matter of fact, he was one of the first four. It was the three cousins and him were the first people we put in there. He was born in Newton, moved here as a small child, and used to come to City Hall when I was mayor every day and drink coffee with me. Of course, I don't drink coffee. I drink Diet Coke and he drank coffee. But he was a fantastic musician that influenced a lot of younger people to play jazz and stuff. And I'm trying to think of a couple of more. Let's see. Golly, he had a record company and everything here. And his brother helped write "You Are My Sunshine" with Mr. Cupid, Dan Cupid. He wrote "You Are My Sunshine" with the governor.
Right, with Jimmy.
That's right. He was from Ferriday.
Wow.
But there's other gospel singers like the cousins of the boys. They got other cousins, first cousin.
Oh, really? These are
boy.
Jerry Lee and Jimmy Swaggart's cousins.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was David Beatty and Gerald Lewis. Both of them are preachers, but both of them had good regional success with music and albums and preaching all over the South. So there was a lot of influence come from here.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I really thank you for your interview,
Well,
Glenn,
thank
and I
you.
appreciate it. And we're really glad that you have brought this attention to our area. And man, we've got some talented people from this area, don't
Oh,
we?
we still have some. We got some young folks around here that are doing pretty well, and I hope and I always pray that they'll make it in whatever music they want to do.
Right.
But I want music to stay alive, and I will tell everybody if you don't have anything to do one weekend, come over to Ferry, look at our museum. We're a small town, but we have a big heart, and I think you'll enjoy the museum very much.
And I'm sure they will. And we thank you.
Thank you.